She was 33 and running away, and I don't know why. I wish I did. Hild, St. Hild, Hilda, is a fascinating character. Bede says she spent the first 33 years nobly in secular occupations. Nobly? Well, she was noble. Her great uncle was Edwin, King of Northumbria. Her sister became Queen of East Anglia. She was definitely a noble. But what Bede is saying, living nobly, isn't she was a royal. He's saying that she had a reputation for courage, for goodness, for wisdom, for loyalty, that kind of thing. Secular occupations, so she didn't, at the age of 19, escape when Cadwal and Penda came and they ransack Northumbria, and her great aunt, the Queen Ethelberga, she flees and goes back home to Kent, where as a widow she starts a monastic community. And some people say that Hild went with her and became a nun. But Bede is quite clear. For 33 years she was in the secular life and in Northumberland. So when she was 19 and her uncle is killed in battle, his army devastated, the country ransacked for more than a year, 19 she was probably married, and then of course probably widowed. If so, did she have children? Did she marry again? Did she have more children from that marriage? We'll never know. Possibly she decided not to marry at all. And if anyone had the strength of character to stand against the enormous pressures and expectations of marriage, then that would have been Hild. But whatever happened, at 33, she felt that her life was over. She left everything. Abandoned, actually, is the word that Bede uses. Abandoned her life in Northumbria and went to the king's court in East Anglia. The king just happened to be her nephew. But she was making plans to join her sister, who had been queen, but when she was a widow and her son got to the throne, she went to Gaul to be a nun, not to take authority in an abbey, but just to be an ordinary nun, Bede says, to await her eternal crown. She'd had an earthly crown, of course, she'd been a queen, so she was just waiting to get her heavenly crown. It's a nice way to say she was waiting to die. And Hild apparently was just going to join her and wait to die. But why did Hild feel that it was all over? What had happened? It must have been something devastating. Was it the death of someone? Maybe a husband, or a lover, or a friend, or a child? Maybe the last of her children? We'll never know. It wasn't that she'd kind of lost everything, because Bede is quite clear that when she entered religious community, she forsook her home and all her possessions. So she's not homeless and poor, but rather Bede is implying that she has left a lot behind and doesn't care at all now. What we do know is whatever happened, she is about to get on the next boat to France, and nothing can change her mind, and nobody's got the authority. But there is one person who she holds in such esteem and high regard, one person whose integrity and wisdom might influence her, one person who she would trust so much that with a word he might recall that's the way Bede puts it, might recall her, turn her life around again. But who is that person? What kind of message would he send? Does he send it? If you don't know the answer, then you need to stay tuned to the next instalment of the story.